Hello, this is Vincent, and welcome to Dogma Discussions. Dogma Discussions is a channel to talk about all kinds of dogma, religious dogma, cultural dogma. There's been so much the last 2 years to talk about. And today I want to talk about the dogma of veganism. So what I do on this channel is I'll tell a story. Please like the videos, subscribe, share them with people you think might like them. Leave me a comment, and I'll respond. Okay, so here we go. Have you ever met a vegan? What's a vegan? Someone who won't eat any animal products. You mean no cheese, eggs, fish, or chicken? That's right. And depending on where you live, it can severely limit your ability to enjoy a lunch or dinner out with family and friends. And it's more complicated than that, since, for many, there's an ethical component to veganism. In fact, for ethical vegans, eating any animal product is akin to a sin for them. Many of these folks also won't wear leather and are animal rights activists. So why would people choose to live this restrictively? It's a characteristic I've seen in many different types of activists, which includes vegans, and it seems born from a lack of understanding of the way the world works. Oftentimes, this dogmatism, although very obnoxious, comes from a good place. Many ethical vegans believe that they are saving the world from itself, that our agricultural and animal husbandry practices are destroying the planet, that the hormones and antibiotics used in raising animals for food are hurting them and those of us who eat them and or their products, which may be true. Yet, what do we do about it? In a capitalistic society, it seems to me that money talks. So rather than protest and criticize people for their choices, the answer is to buy vegan and cruelty-free products, even though they're more expensive, which is leading to more companies competing and the products becoming less expensive. For example, cage-free eggs are now so mainstream, you can purchase them at a regular grocery store. The question becomes then, did the big grocers change because of street corner protests, or because it's profitable to do so? Another argument for ethical veganism is that you're saving the animals. To be sure, most people don't want to think about furry little animals suffering to provide us with nutrition. Two things. First, we must be careful about anthropomorphizing animals, meaning let's not imbue them with human thought processes. Certainly, animals have emotions and feel fear and pain. Thus, we should be compassionate, even when raising them for food, and lessen their discomfort as much as possible. But they don't have the executive functioning of humans. Even though your cat seems to be meditating when staring at the wall, well, it's not the same for them as us. Like other animals, cats do not have the obsessive thoughts that humans do, constantly racing through their minds. They are masters of relaxation, being able to sit motionless for hours, staring as if in a trance. And then, in an instant, they become intensely focused. Even their purring is said to act like a mantra for them, bringing them into a state of relaxation. In fact, their brains actually emit more alpha waves than ours, which helps them stay in a relaxed state naturally. But when they're in that state, they're just being, unlike when humans meditate. What are we coached to do? Focus on our breath, let go of distressing thoughts. Animals don't have to do that. Cows don't sit in the farm worrying about the day they're going to the slaughterhouse. For animals, they really do live in the moment. Secondly, many of these activists need to get a clue about the natural world they claim to love. Oftentimes, in my experience, these activists are not outdoorsy people. They live in their climate-controlled homes, drive expensive cars, and have every technological device known to man, all the while claiming to be in tune with nature. I have spent much of my life hiking in the wilderness. It's not uncommon to come across scattered feathers or piles of fur wherein some small creature lost its life. I have come across huge hawks who thankfully did not see me as a viable option for dinner, but regularly swoop down and grasp in their sharp and merciless claws the small animals of their choice. Predators like bears and cougars are a necessary part of our biosystem, but I would not want to observe one maul a deer to death. That cannot be a good way to die, but it is nature, and nature is harsh. We cannot bubble wrap the world and make it like a Disney movie, where all the people and animals live in harmony. In my opinion, animal rights activists should focus their activism on truly cruel treatment instead of harassing people who are just trying to enjoy good nutrition. Otherwise, Otherwise, by constantly sounding the alarm, be it about factory farms, climate change, whatever, they risk being seen like the boy who cried wolf and being dismissed, thus defeating their own causes through their dogmatism. I recently experienced this at a party at the food table. Let me take you to that moment. When I and a woman reach for the veggie tray at the same time, I apologize and she smiles at me. I noticed you passed on the meat. Are you a vegan? She asks and continues. It's rare to find a man who is, you know. She is quite beautiful and my age, and being single, I'm instantly interested. I'm vegetarian, I respond. Oh, so you're halfway to being a vegan. What would it take to get you all the way there? She asks, looking up at me coyly. I smile and answer, I'm not going vegan. Why? She asks, her voice suddenly becoming shrill. Don't you care about little animals being tortured and murdered so that you can have your precious eggs and cheese? Sure, I answer. I do buy cage-free eggs, and she cuts me off, snarling at my comment. That's a lie. There's no such thing as cage-free. It's a loophole that they're allowed to put on packaging, but it's not true. I respond that I disagree. You're wrong, she states emphatically. So, you either don't believe me or don't care that animals are being tortured and killed. Irritated at her attempt to lock me into a binary argument, I answer, I'm not going vegan. She continues, well, you should read more about it. I can give you websites to read. It's now my turn to interrupt, so, holding up my hand in a stopping motion, I signal my disinterest and walk away. And that brings me to my last point. Many of these activists are rebels without a clue. She knew nothing about me, but was quick to judgment. I've seen a similar impulsiveness in these activists when it comes to the climate. For instance, one of the more disturbing trends in environmentalism, of which veganism is a part, is embracing nuclear power for saving the planet. Activists claim that it's an important tool in the fight against climate change, completely ignoring the waste and danger issues. Instead of encouraging research into improving battery technology for wind and solar and making those operations more efficient, they've quickly pivoted to nuclear power. And that's particularly annoying to me for a couple of reasons. Firstly, I'm from the American desert region and don't like the idea that we'll just bury the waste. Large eastern cities have done this for decades with their trash. Recycle, reuse, and reduce? Nah, just bury it in the desert. And that will be the nuclear solution too. Develop the technology? Nah, let's just bury the waste in the desert and deal with it later. And the folks who care so much for the planet and little furry animals have no problem putting toxic waste in the earth that will last for 100,000 years. Okay. I find out later from the host that this lady who confronted me so harshly is very well off, doesn't work, and has the time to spend on her causes. I wonder if she ever considers us plebs, those of us who attempt a middle-class existence and endeavor to be good, decent people, but don't have the time or resources to live her blessed life. She's not the only ethical vegan/environmentalist whom I've met who lives that kind of charmed life. And I must wonder, are their lives so devoid of real problems that they must have a cause? Perhaps. I'm sure there are some of modest means who also live that dogmatically. And I must wonder, is their life so devoid of meaning that they choose an existence of stress and deprivation? Most people's lives are so busy with jobs, kids, trying to build some kind of retirement that they don't have the luxury of being an activist. I do think that we should care about the planet, about the ethical treatment of animals and humans alike. At the same time, we must seek balance. And when we feel that pull towards dogmatism, towards over-emotionalism, be able to pull ourselves back from that brink and be more like the animals, like a cat who enjoys sitting in the warmth of the sunlight on a windowsill, staring not into an electronic device, but out the window, contemplating nothing, just living in the relaxation of the moment. Thank you for listening. That's my story for this time. I hope that you enjoyed it. And if I haven't mentioned it earlier, I take these stories oftentimes from my own experiences or from what's in the news. So thank you again. Please like, subscribe, share the video with someone else. Until next time, this is Vincent. Goodbye.